Facial Recognition Systems, Another Threat to Privacy. Research by Brady, Debra, Mallory, Mercer, and Danita, Sawyer. Introduction. Our project topic is Facial Recognition Software, Another Threat to Privacy. We chose this topic because we felt it was a relevant technology system that is on the brink of becoming common in our everyday lives, but it may be something not many of us know much about. The main research questions were: what is facial recognition software? Research done by Mallory Mercer. How can facial recognition be used to positively impact the public? Research done by Brady. How can facial recognition be used to negatively impact the public? Research done by Debra. Is facial recognition a threat to society's privacy? Research done by Danita, Sawyer. Methodology. We split up our research questions and we each did a short PowerPoint on our individual topics, with data and photos via online research. The individual PowerPoints were submitted to our group leader by Monday morning. The leader of the group organized the slides into an overall project and created additional slides and supplemental information to help support the information presented in each mini PowerPoint. Challenges were presented through communication as we only exchanged emails. If we could, we would have chosen to receive our topic sooner and had more time to meet up and work on the project in person together. What is facial recognition by Mallory Mercer? A form of biometric software that maps the facial features of an individual and stores them as a face print, similar to a fingerprint. Only technology able to do analysis at a distance, can be used without the knowledge of the participant. Price is rapidly decreasing with the increased access to processing software. Biometric software. Bio meaning life, metric meaning measure. Biometrics is the measurement and configuration of individuals' unique physical characteristics. Two types of biometric. Physiological recognition, facial recognition, fingerprints, iris recognition, retina scanning, voice recognition and DNA matching, and behavioral recognition, voice ID, behavioral patterns, and gait analysis. Purpose is to be identified either by physical appearance or behavioral aspects. Created to heighten security systems by replacing PINs and passwords, is user-friendly, and can be implemented in existing systems. Components of biometric system include the reader, software, and database. The reader, also known as user interface or data acquisition. The enrollment feature of the system can be a camera or a still photo. An automated technology that examines an individual. It then creates a data analog of their characteristics. Software processes the input by recognizing specific features of the face. These special features are nodal points, for example, cheekbones and jawline. Your face has about 80 different nodal points. It uses these points to create a face bunch graph. Face bunch graph turns to information that can be stored in the database. Softwares can differ by either focusing on the whole face or only certain points of the face. Database. The database is the hardware of the system, responsible for storing, identifying, and verifying the data. Stores face prints to be searched, creates a list of possible matches within the system. The positive effects of facial recognition in businesses by Brady. Today, it is easier than ever to have information stolen from a business or customer. Companies are using biometric facial recognition along with traditional security firms for further protection on their premises. These facial recognition systems allow security teams to be notified if someone unwanted is on the premises. These facial recognition systems are usually easily integrated into already existing security systems. This saves the company's money by not having to install new software systems. These systems wipe out time fraud because favors from buddies no longer come into play. Employees are paid from the time they walk into the door and the system picks them up until the time the system sees them leaving. The positive effects of facial recognition in law enforcement. Facial recognition is very accurate. In an FBI study, it picked up the right face of a suspect 85% of the time. The algorithms made by the FBI allow facial recognition systems to see faces differently than humans see them, allowing regular security teams to have a leg up on criminals. Facial recognition allows criminals to be identified when law enforcement officials may not have fingerprints or mugshots. Facial recognition can also prevent people from being where they shouldn't. For example, if a pedophile is working with children, facial recognition shots can be compared with certain databases to catch them. Facial recognition in everyday life. Facial recognition is already available on some technological devices. In some cases, cell phones won't unlock unless the phone recognizes your face. Many smartphones are also using facial recognition as a way to group photos together. Take a look at your photo album on your phone and see if you have an album labeled People. Most likely this is an album of people you most often take photos with, and they'll be organized by person. Apps like Facebook and Snapchat use facial recognition to tag you in photos or protect your privacy by limiting how much information is shared. Even vending machines will begin to use facial recognition to remember customers and what beverage they usually like to purchase. The Negative Effects of Facial Recognition by Debra Ford. The greatest issue with facial recognition technology and its rapid advancement is due to human fear of not advancing technology fast enough to keep up with crime. Society is quickly accepting facial recognition without a clear understanding of what it is, how it is being used, and the risks associated with this advancement. Facial recognition technology, just like humans, are prone to errors and therefore must be double-checked and not just left to run on its own. However, since this is new, cutting-edge technology, it is often left unregulated. The negative effects of facial recognition in schools. Many would agree that one of society's greatest problems today, and for that matter fears, is a school shooting. Due to this fear, many companies are offering their facial recognition software to schools at little to no cost. Recently, Real Networks offered all schools in the country, from grades K through 12, their facial recognition software for free to help make schools safer. By implementing this technology, we are now having children not only stripped of lockers and backpacks in most local schools, metal detector walkthroughs, armed police on campus, substance dogs, but now scans of their faces too. What is the ultimate price we're willing to pay to attempt to keep our kids safe at school? By instilling fear into their minds just by showing up? The negative effects of facial recognition. Privacy. Regarding the previous slide, subjecting children to facial recognition scans at school can cause pervasive monitoring of a child's most private information, their biometric data. These scans could follow children from a young age through graduation and into adulthood. Adults who don't trust the government and are constantly looking over their shoulder, unaware of who has access to their most personal details. Most facial recognition technology is being used in plain sight, you just don't know it. You could be walking down the street on a Saturday to the supermarket, like you do every week, with no knowledge that there's a camera that has identified you and recognizes you every week. This technology can be used by the government to track individuals, their habits, and whereabouts without the individual's knowledge. Facial recognition is surpassing what the general public believes its purpose is, to identify a face. Facial recognition can recognize a face as a face, assign an identity to the face based off of a database file, and record and recognize facial habits that mark emotions, truly bringing the fear from fiction such as 1984 to life. The negative effects of facial recognition. Accuracy. A recent test on Amazon's latest facial recognition technology, Rekognition, compared photos of Congress members to arrest photos. The results are alarming. 28 false positives, of which about 40% were individuals of color. Consider those children that are getting their faces scanned for free at school. How often does a child's facial features change? Putting those two scenarios into practice today, and imagine this. A young child has his facial features scanned and his school board keeps these on file, which would be shared with the state, much like fingerprints are when you have a teaching job. 4 years later, he's identified walking home from school as a kid who recently stole a woman's purse at gunpoint. He is apprehended by police officers and he resists pleading wrong identity and is shot in the process. While the software is sophisticated for facial recognition, it still does not view a face the way the human eye does. The software is looking for patterns of pixels to associate with the identity being assigned to the face scanned, such as how far your eyes are from your hairline, the distance between your eyes, the curve of the smile. Researchers have developed these glasses that throw off the patterns that the software is looking for. By knowing the pattern the software is looking for, it is simple to create a pattern to read and throw it off. The best part, these glasses retail for just 22 cents. The researchers fooled the system successfully 100% of the time. The negative effects of facial recognition, crime rates. While it may seem simple, hide facial recognition technology in plain sight, surveillance individuals and their habits to find criminals and where they hide. That is not necessarily the case. Keeping a database of facial recognition based off of mugshots would most likely not help in preventing school shootings, as the majority of these heinous crimes are carried out by first-time offenders who have never been in trouble with the law before. Also, tracking individuals' habits can cause an influx in mistaken identity, stolen identity, stalking, break-ins, confrontations, etc. Making known the whereabouts of an individual increases the opportunity for crime. David Murray said, "The stronger the tech, the more damage an individual with access can cause." The negative effects of facial recognition, discrimination. According to the FBI 2015 hate crime statistics, as seen in the pie chart, the largest bias type is race and ethnicity. Facial recognition increases the opportunity for racial profiling by unknowingly monitoring the movements of individuals and knowing their race, ethnicity, and skin color. Is facial recognition a threat to society's privacy? By Danita Sawyer. Advantages: easy to put faces with names, the amount of people who use smartphones, ease of database sharing, active in the moment real time. Disadvantages: abuse of the system, mistakes in identification, government regulations, violation of privacy, and fear of racial profiling and targeting. Is facial recognition a threat to society's privacy? The FBI have a system called the Next Generation Identification. The system uses facial recognition technology. It is a collection on face prints gathered from various government agencies, including the DMV and passport renewals. The FBI uses the system to compare the face prints to the existing database to identify criminals. The government is collecting data on innocent civilians unknowingly. Many argue this is a violation of their Fourth Amendment right, which shields you from illegal search. The privacy rights of facial recognition. Disclosures to the consumer, set legislation governing the use, violates civil liberties, and limitations of use. Conclusion. While researching the topic of facial recognition software and whether it is a threat to our privacy, we did come across many pros and cons of this leading-edge technology. The biggest con being this: you can hide most forms of privacy, such as passwords and PIN numbers. You can write them down. You can even just memorize them. Other forms of protection, such as IDs in the workplace or school, can be taken off and put away when not in use. However, the latest technology advancement uses something you can't hide when you don't need it: your face. If using your face as a security measure is the only way to access your bank account, open your phone, pay for your groceries, prove you did not commit a crime, how do you protect it from being stolen or copied or worse, mistaken? Whether you believe facial recognition is the most secure form of security or not, it is the road in which latest technology is taking us. Therefore, the best practice that we can put into place to help aid in the protection of our identities are rules and regulations. As with any technology, there should be someone fact-checking, or in this case, face-checking, to account for accuracy. There should be legislation and limitations put into place to protect our privacy. More importantly, with any public tracking technology, there should be disclosures to the consumer so someone can choose to use their face for payment or not. References.